Okay, so let's talk about blood vessels. So we're going to talk about the arteries and the veins. So both artery and vein, they have three different layers. The innermost layer, it is called the tunica intima, which is this layer, the tunica intima. And then we have the tunica media, and finally we have the tunica externa. So the tunica intima, the tunica media, and finally the last layer, the tunica externa. Now the tunica intima is made up of squamous endothelium. The tunica media is made up of smooth muscles and elastic fibers. Now in the diagram you can see that in veins the tunica media is very less, the layer is thin, whereas in arteries the tunica media is very thick. Now this has a reason. The arteries, the blood is flowing from the blood to the rest of the body through the arteries, the oxygenated blood. Now blood is pumped by the heart, and that blood needs to go to the extremities of the body, that is right till the head and also to the tip of the toe. And that is a very big distance that the blood needs to cover. So the pressure that is created by the heart, the pressure that is created by the heart when it is pumping the blood, that pressure, to retain that pressure, to resist that pressure, the arteries need to have a thick muscle layer, a thick musculature of the tunica media, so that the arteries do not get damaged. And veins, the pressure decreases because, in a normal human being, we know that the normal blood pressure should be 120 by 80. Anything above 120, the 120 by 80, this is the systolic pressure, and this is the diastolic pressure. So by this pressure, 120 mm of Hg, by this pressure the blood is moving through the arteries and the blood is coming back to the heart by veins by this 80 mm of Hg pressure. So the arteries have to encounter this 120 mm of Hg pressure. That is why it needs to have the thick musculature of the tunica media, so that when the blood is flowing, it is not damaging the artery. And since the pressure is decreased in the veins when it is coming back to the heart from the body, the veins do not need that much of thick musculature when the blood is flowing because the pressure has already decreased. That is why the veins have a thin musculature compared to that of arteries. And we know that the arteries, they break off into arterioles. So let me write it down, arterioles. They break off into arterioles. So this was artery. They break off into arterioles and they further break into fine vessels, which are called capillaries, And when the blood flows through the capillaries, the oxygen is delivered to the extracellular fluid, that is the fluid that is outside the cells. And from that fluid, the cells take up the oxygen. Whereas when the capillaries, they again join together to form the venule, and the venule is, the venule goes into the veins. So this is the veins and this is the venule. When the blood is flowing, when the blood is flowing through the arteries and goes into the capillaries, the oxygen goes to the extracellular fluid from where the cells take up the oxygen. In turn, the cell gives up carbon dioxide into the capillaries, and that is carried forward to the venule, which sort of gets mixed with the veins, the venous blood, and goes back to the heart. So this is the whole process. The blood comes through the arteries, it goes into the arterioles, it goes to the capillaries, then again into the venule and into the veins. And this was all about the blood vessels. Now you know what are arteries, what are veins, and what are capillaries, what are arterioles, and what are venules. So another thing that I wanted to talk about is that which will be helpful in the next video, because we're going to talk about double circulation in the next video. That is, whenever a blood vessel is leaving the heart, we're going to call it artery. No matter what. It does not matter whether it is going to the lungs, whether it is going to the systemic parts of the body. We're going to call it artery. Whenever a vessel is coming to the heart, it is taking blood to the heart, we call it the veins. Again, no matter it is going to the lungs, it is going to the systemic circulation, does not matter. So from these two concepts, we can make out what is a pulmonary artery, what is a systemic artery, what is a pulmonary vein, what is a systemic vein, and also what are coronary arteries and what are coronary veins. Whenever we say the term systemic, we refer to the systemic organs of the body. Right, we refer to the systemic organs of the body, all the organs of the body. Now, whenever we will call, a circulation to be pulmonary, we are only referring to the circulation between heart and lungs. And finally, if we say coronary, we are referring to the blood flow between the heart muscles, because the heart cells or the heart muscle cells, they also need blood in order to respire, in order to gain nutrients and minerals, because they need to be alive to help the pumping and everything. So blood is flowing to the heart, blood is flowing to the lungs, blood is flowing to the systemic organs of the body. So whenever we say it is a systemic artery, we immediately know that the systemic artery would be something which will take oxygenated blood to the systemic organs, because the systemic artery is going to take the blood from the heart, which is oxygenated, and dump that oxygen into the various organs, because the organs need oxygen. Now, when we are talking about systemic veins, that is a vein which is coming from the organs, which is originating from the organs, and it is taking deoxygenated blood into the heart. And finally, if we talk similarly about coronary artery and coronary veins, that is, it is giving oxygenated blood to the heart cells, and it is bringing back deoxygenated blood from the heart cells to the heart chambers. So that is the difference, and this is going to help you when we talk about double circulation in humans. So for that, we are going to meet in the next video.